Hello, 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 and welcome. All right, welcome to the Real Housewives of New Jersey, season 12, episode 1 Smoke, Mirrors, and Foggy Diamonds. This is the recap and review with Indigo Sage. All right. So, the way that I'm going to start it out is with soliloquies. I am. So, because when I think about these characters, things come to mind, and usually they rhyme. Jen, that is, Jennifer, good old Jennifer, honey. Jen bagged a new face when she traveled to a new place. Made up with mom, and that's great. If only mom said, no new face. That could have been her saving grace. Jackie. Jackie is still a bore. Her husband is not a whore. Fight with Teresa she wants no more. When Teresa says, come through my door. Okay, and that is smart. Marge. Margaret. Marge has nothing new and still instigates. It's her stretchy rubber neck that makes me contemplate. Is that where her animosity comes from? Once we know why she's a hater, hopefully she'll be done. Melissa. I'm not a fan of Melissa. Melissa always wanting to shine with no true storyline. While drinking wine and cussing to earn her dime. When she appears on my screen, I always hope it's the last time. Truly, I do. Teresa. Teresa throws a pool party, and she's all smiles, while the ladies put Louis' ass on trial. You better respect him, at least for a while, before you get dealt with WWF style. Dolores. Dolores is ready to move in her new house. Unfortunately, the completion has gone down south. Rest assured, she opens her mouth. Frank Sr. promises he'll finish without a doubt. My book of soliloquies, okay? So, we're going to get started. I'm going to recap and review. This recap and review, I'm not going to call it late. I'll say when my subscribers become larger, my subscriber count, they'll definitely be sooner. However, I am going to say right here and right now that I prefer quality over quantity. Without further ado, let's get started. All right, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Real Housewives of New Jersey recap and review. Did you guys notice that last year they were in like champagne colors for their title card?
This year, they're in black. Okay, is that a little foreshadowing? I think that's a little foreshadowing. All right. Now, Jennifer's house on the outside is beautiful. Honey, honey, honey. Let me tell y'all something. What are we looking at? All right, my facial expression was much like Gabriella's, her daughter, the way she's looking right now. Okay, it's like, what is this? What is this? What is this? Looking like it reminded me of Hannibal Lecter, that movie Silence of the Lambs. So, her daughter, you gotta love kids, how honest they are, and it just comes out of nowhere sometimes. She totally tells her that she looks like she has on a Halloween costume. Actually, she says you could wear that for Halloween. And Jennifer says, but what would I go as? And she goes, without missing a beat, a botched patient. We go over to Miss Jackie, okay? And that house looked like her. That looked like her. I'm sure they own it. Because I believe she was saying that they invest in properties and all this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. And this looked like something, you know whose house this remind me of? It actually reminds me of Giselle's house. Jackie, and her kids, they running around looking like they playing that darn game parkour, jumping over all her furniture and hollering and screaming over some grapes. Over some grapes. They were so ridiculous, or let me put it like this. It was so much on a level that I had never seen before, me personally, to where it made me wonder, did they say, okay, kids, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now go jump all over the furniture? I don't know if it's set up or if people really live their life this way. I don't know. Because now this is what I'm going to say, y'all, okay? This is Indigo's opinion and commentary, all right? If these kids jump all over the furniture on a normal day to day basis over the smallest things, like a grape, wouldn't her house, it seems like it would be things broken and kind of in disarray. She has things on the shelf. She has some things in the center of her little coffee table. So I don't know. Just I pay attention to things like that. It just seems to me that they don't run all over the furniture like they're playing parkour on a day-to-day basis over small little things. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. You wouldn't be able to have glass on your table. Melissa's house. And that look alright. It look alright. Look like it could be haunted. I don't know. So they just show us her son has a haircut. I guess a new haircut because they're just now talking about it. And he's a cute little boy. But when asked why would he want a puffy ball of hair on top of his head, he replies in a low, like trying to be sexy voice. um, well, he says it's because it's sexy. And that reminded me of Melissa because last season they did a few montages where they showed her constantly taking selfies and looking in the mirror and saying how sexy she looks and how good she looks. Her talking to herself. And, there's nothing wrong with having self-esteem. I believe everybody should have self-esteem. I just feel at times Melissa's self-esteem is too high. Okay? It's too high. That's how I'm gonna put it. All right, and moving right along. All right, and here we are with Teresa and her daughters at Teresa's house. And that's the old house, mind you. Okay, so check out the video that I did on their new home, which is dubbed as the mini mansion. Anyway, so her daughters let her know that they're hungry, and she comes in all smiling and happy. And I'm sure what she's wearing is probably part of her athletic wear. Yes, Teresa has athletic wear. Okay, get into it. So they go. She says, "Let's go eat sandwiches by the pool." So they're out by the pool and they discuss closing on the house and moving in with two men. They haven't lived with men in 6 years. Teresa asks how they feel about blending families. Now, one thing that Teresa does in a confessional is she does the knocking on wood, and she says everything feels great. Let me say this. I really wish that she wouldn't have used her head to knock on wood. Okay? But I am very happy that she's happy. And she says that he's her soulmate. And I love it. I love that she is so happy because as I said before, I feel like she deserves it. Now, cut to, okay, Gia stating straight facts, telling her mom, Teresa, that 1 year is a short period of time to be living together. And so then Bravo cuts to Teresa in her confessional saying that she's always wanted a son and now she'll have two. So Louis has two sons. Louis and the younger son will live with them. And I'd like to know how Louis and his children feel about Teresa and her daughters. Now, let me say something to Bravo. Since Bravo is passing around spin-offs, okay, like a pack of gum, they should consider Teresa loves Louis. All right? Nevertheless, Teresa's daughters assure her that if they didn't like Louis, she'd know it by now. Okay? And we all know that. We know that to be true. Now, they have packed this scene with two pretty serious topics. All right, so we already covered one, which was the blended families and them living with two men now. And here we are on to the other serious topic. So Teresa tells the girls that she's invited her brother and Melissa to her pool party. Then the girls begin to express their aversion to their uncle's remarks about their dad. They feel like Joey, Teresa's brother, the girl's uncle, have they you know, he said some remarks that they didn't like about their dad. But I kind of feel like, okay, try to look at it from the girl's point of view. So what he ends up doing once their Uncle Joey finds out that they are displeased with his remarks, he goes ahead and sends them a an apology filled with sarcasm. Okay? And the girls expressed to their mom that they feel like the least he could have done was placed a phone call to them or invited all of them out to lunch or something so that they can sit down and talk about it. And I agree. And actually I'm going to say I'm impressed with how mature and reasonable Teresa's children are. Okay? Throughout everything that they've been through, yes, they had to grow up fast, but sometimes children don't go through the things that they've went through and come out still being able to be a reasonable thinking human being. Okay, that's how I'm gonna put it. And they seem to be able to do that. Even with Gia saying, you've only known him for 1 year and that's not long enough, that's a reasonable statement. Okay, so kudos to them and kudos to Teresa for instilling that in her girls. I don't care what y'all say about Teresa. A lot of people don't like Teresa. I don't care. All right, I am going to give credit where credit is due. Those are her children and she raised them. So giving the children compliments on their way of thinking, we do have to acknowledge Teresa as well because she helped them get there, point blank and period. Dolores, Dolores, Dolores. Come through, Dolores. I love me some Dolores, okay? Now, do you guys see what just happened? We were not immediately introduced with Dolores's house, okay? The reason being is because Dolores is more than ready to move into her new home. However, there's things that needs to be fixed, but I think she said the air just got turned on and available, and so now they're in there. But she has her two grown children there because she told them both after college they could live there until they get settled into their careers. And I personally absolutely love that. Okay? I do. I think that's great. Now, her son, Frank Jr., works in real estate, and Louis is his mentor. And Frank Jr. says he's happy that Teresa is with him and that Louis is what she needs. Dolores' daughter is a veterinarian, and she always comes with a pack of dogs. All right. Um, last season, when I saw her come visit Dolores' daughter, I believe I counted seven. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. And of course, Dolores expects it. I now expect it. Okay. But still, she just has a lot of dogs that come with her, and I just can't imagine living with that many dogs. But I had one ever since he was born, and he just recently passed, and I'm all torn up over it. And I can't imagine having seven dogs and then being with them and then seven times them passing away. And I don't know, it just because my one dog hit me hard. But anyway, so seven dogs is what she had last season. This season I think it's like four, maybe five. Anyway, and I admire her for that. So 9 months later, Dolores' house is still not finished, and she's upset at Frank Sr. because ever since he's gotten a new girlfriend, the house is not his priority. Now, this also is when we learn that the men of New Jersey have a road show. What to the what to the what? They have a road show. Okay. Okay, so in this scene, we begin with bits and pieces of the ladies gossiping about a video Louis is in. They're wondering if Teresa knows about it. So, cut to Margaret being messy, as usual, like someone is desperate and in need of a storyline. That'd be Margaret. She's waiting on Jackie to visit, so she tells Joe, we have to talk about this video. I've seen many bone carriers in my day. I've never seen a person as desperate to carry a bone as Margaret, okay? I've never been a huge fan of the bone collector position, but for some reason, I really, really don't like Margaret in this role, okay? She's way too aggressive for me, so much so that she has a listening problem that I noticed last season. Because at this point, Marge just talks to hear herself talking. It doesn't matter to her one bit what you're saying if she is carrying a bone and is the center of the stage. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what you're saying. She's just going to get out what she needs to get out, and she's not listening to you. She'll let you speak, she'll let words come out your mouth, but she's not listening. The bone collector act on her just rubs me the wrong way. Okay? For real. Now, Joe reminds me of Peter from Roa when Peter was called Patricia. That's simply not an attractive look. Okay, Joe? Now, and I'm talking about Joe Marge is Joe. And I see now they have a distinguishing name for them. Melissa's husband is now called Joey. So Joey and Joe. All right. So back to Marge. Marge goes on and on and on about the video. And, the video really wasn't that bad. Point blank, period. Okay. Joe says it's a heavy situation and she has to realize what's going on. I'm wondering, WTF, what is going on? What's going on, Joe? What are you talking about? She has to realize what's going on. Are we missing something? Okay. Marge says she doesn't want to rain on Teresa's parade. Lies she tell. Do you hear me? Lies she tell. Lies. She does want to do exactly that. She does want to rain on Teresa's parade. Girl, knock it off. Jackie has arrived, and Joe was right there at the dang door with Margaret, like a Patricia. Anyway, and no offense to anybody named Patricia. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know where I got that from. Jackie says she won't tell. She won't. Okay, be the one to tell Teresa that about any of this because she says she's finally cool with Teresa, and I think that's a smart idea, Jackie. Marge is upset that while going back and forth with Jennifer online, she called her a snake. Now, I'm over here looking around and looking under every rock trying to find the lie. Based on Marge's bone collector gossipy stir up mess and loves it persona, she's very much snake-like. Cut to Joe and Melissa. They eat lunch with a new couple, Tiki and his wife. I believe her name is Tracy. They met 8 years ago through a mutual friend. Joe talks about the show that him and the guys are in, and it's not funny to me at all. And he brings up one of his bits, which is he talks about a dog with little paws who can't please himself. The dog can't masturbate. That's ridiculous. That's not funny. It's not funny to me. Joe makes an exaggerated facial expression as they bring up Teresa's new home. So, of course, they're kind of asking what's going on, why you making faces over there. Then Melissa brings up Louis, who she coins as Teresa's knight in shining armor. Joe makes more faces and expresses that he doesn't like Louis now. Those are not the words he uses, but that's basically what he's saying. So finally, Tiki comes through and basically he tells him, Tiki's asking him, why the faces? You over there making faces, what's up? He don't like them, basically, and it's because of the video, apparently. And Tiki goes ahead and drops some knowledge, and he says, all you need to worry about is how he treats her, how he treats your sister. If she's good, then good. Okay. Okay. I was like, see, now I'm noticing you, Tiki. Now you might be some good to this franchise. Joey knows damn well that that's common sense. He just wanted to throw something out there and see if he was going to take the bait. That's the word for it, take the bait. So it seems like so far that Tiki has good sense, and Tiki is not going to be on that level of pettiness and ridiculousness that you and Melissa operate from. Get into it. Moving right along. Here we are at Jen's house, and she's getting ready for dinner. Jen got her nose and chin done in Turkey with a doctor she found on IG. In Turkey, Jen made up with her mom, and Jen tells the family to finish dinner in their room so Jen and Bill can film. Basically, that's how I see it. Okay. They sit down at the bar area and they discuss the video. Then we go into everyone is getting ready for this pool party. Okay. We've got Marge and Joe, and they're talking about Jen. And then we go to Jen and Bill, who are talking about pretty much all the girls. Both of the couples are worried about getting along. We've got Jackie talking to her husband about the video and whether or not it's going to come up. And then Dolores is talking to Frank Sr. You know what? I did say her partner, but of course, David is busy. So she's talking to Frank Sr. about the video and about what Joe said. And so far, everything is extremely video heavy. Joe says he's not going. So, yeah, they cut to Melissa and Joe is telling Melissa that he's not going to the party. Oh boy. Dolores says when it comes to the video that if the person knew what was good for them, they would not talk about the video. Okay. Joe and Melissa ends up coming to the party anyway because apparently Teresa called and apologized. So now it's cool. What did she have to apologize about? I don't know. All this so far is really, really getting on my nerves. Really getting on my nerves. Okay. Okay, so we have Dolores making reference to the pink elephant in the room, and the pink elephant in the room is Louis' video. And she says that she's wondering, is Louis walking into the party, wondering if anyone is talking about his video. Dolores, let's see. Yeah. Now here's something that had me cracking up. When they played Dolores asking Teresa if she can eat. And Teresa says, no, you need to wait. Now, honey, let me tell you something right now. I am known for showing up early when it's a dear friend of mine and they're hosting. And I show up early and I ask, can I help with anything? What she needs to do, learn from me, chick. When you set things out, go ahead and grab a piece or two. Now, she has some charcuterie boards. I know charcuterie's got little pieces of this, little pieces of that. Let's say she sent out 10 pieces of your favorite, honey. Only 8 might reach the table. Okay? So, learn from me. And if you don't show up early enough to do that, you go ahead and eat as a guest because guess what? You are an invited guest. Okay, Teresa would have to go on somewhere with that, but moving right along. Then we have the pleasure of seeing that Tiki Barber and his wife was there. So they were invited. They were there. Well, you know what? I take that back. I don't know if they were invited, but they were there, and I'm going to assume they were invited. Okay, they greet everyone, and then they split up in the separate groups, the girl pile and the man pile. Okay. All right. Then we get good old Marge and Joe. Joe and Marge. Uh-huh. As soon as Marge arrives, her and Joe go to their designated groups and begin to talk shiznit immediately. Immediately. They've got their stories the same this season, unlike last season when I thought Joe would end up in a battered woman's shelter, the way Margaret cussed him up, down, sideways, and what, Catacorner? Okay, she cussed him so bad, so bad. When Teresa said, Joe said that you had heard it too. Ooh, Jesus, my heart was palpitating for Joe. And Joe's heart was palpitating too. Blink twice, Joe, if you need some help. Joe was scared, and I was scared with him. Joe is right there with her, gossiping with her, being Joanna instead of Joe. And Dolores tells Teresa that Joey was asked at their quote unquote show how he felt about Louis. And Joey said, I've never missed my brother-in-law so much. Teresa smiles and dismisses that mess. Okay, anybody got time for that? Now, I want to drop this in here because I think this is very, very much noteworthy. I was listening to Jen in an interview the other day, a recent interview, and she said that because the women, we know who it is, made such a big deal out of her drinking last year. She said, even though when she goes out with them, that's the only time that she drinks, she doesn't drink regularly. She said that she made a decision this year to not drink at all. So she said throughout the entire show, and I believe allegedly that someone in production had confirmed it, that you will only see her with water, ice water, just water. Now, I did appreciate how production when they arrived and there was a voiceover and they were in the car and just kind of getting out of it. She said, "Yeah, just water for me." She was talking to Bill. Now, have you guys seen all these pictures that are scrolling by? Before I knew that Jen had committed to just drinking water, I noticed all of the close ups of the drinking. And I was like, wow. And I'm like, I don't recall them ever doing this previously. I wonder. And get down in the comments and let me know, does this have anything to do with Jen not drinking? Not and now understand, I'm not saying that the cast is drinking more. I'm pretty positive that this is their normal flow. But all of the close-ups of the cups up to their mouth with the liquor, I hadn't noticed it. So get down in them comments and let me know. Let's talk about it. I don't know. Let me know. Now I am showing you guys something that I really, really cannot stand as it pertains to a trait that some people have. And that is the talking behind people's back when you have the opportunity, the clear opportunity to tell them to their face, but you wait and talk about them behind their back. Louis arrives and greets everyone, and as he greets, well, actually, after he greets Joey says that it was all fake and it's BS, except for he doesn't say BS. As if he didn't have the opportunity to express himself and how he felt before this party. It just seems so fake. And I'm tired of him and Melissa. Marge, Marge. Stretchy neck Marge. Marge, if you don't get your in on somewhere, okay. Marge decides that after all of the talking behind, Teresa's back, Louie's back, Jennifer's back, Bill's back, everybody's back, just talking behind everybody's back. She aggressively, in my opinion, she's been aggressive this whole entire time, but which is why I don't like her as a bone carrier. She needs to take notes from Sheree Whitfield from Real Housewives of Atlanta. Sheree, I can see that even though I didn't like what she was doing, now looking at these other people trying to follow in her footsteps, they're horrible. Do it with some style and not, I don't know. I don't like it. Anyway, she goes up to Teresa and tells Teresa, okay. She brings Dolores with her. I noticed that. And she looks at Dolores every other second. Margaret says something to Teresa, and then she looks immediately at Dolores. And it's weird to me because I thought Margaret was all tough. She acts tough. But also, if you guys remember, like right before she went over to Teresa, she talked a whole bunch of mess. Margaret talked a whole bunch of mess in the little girl group. Dolores was not in that girl group. Margaret apparently goes and gets Dolores because when they cut to Dolores and Margaret, they are alone. And Dolores wasn't even in that girl group. So that tells me, because I'm sure Dolores can say, hey, Marge, come over here and talk shit about Teresa. I highly doubt it. They cut to them together, and Margaret is talking mess about Teresa. And she's trying to get Dolores to agree with her. And then Teresa comes out of the house. Margaret says, well, let's stop talking because here she comes and I don't want her thinking that I'm talking about her behind her back. Okay, okay. And if I was Dolores, I would have been like, girl, cut that shit out. Like, tell it to her face. Don't do that. And which is what I do in real life. Okay? In Indigo's real life, I don't believe in the talking about folks behind their back. I really don't. And everybody that knows me knows that I'm not on that team. I don't do that. So Margaret tells Teresa that Louis needs to address the video right here, right now. And of course, Teresa is like, no, bitch, no. And she just says, look, you need to respect both me and Louis, or it's not going to be good. Okay? Okay. Now, the last scene, Bravo shows us that Jennifer and Bill enters, and they all the Mean Girls group, with Margaret being the head honcho, the leader of it all. They look at her and then they begin to talk about her face, and they're really mean. They're laughing and talking very harshly about her appearance. And yeah, honey, Margaret, you know what? Nobody should talk about anybody's appearance, point blank, period. But Margaret, with that stretchy rubber neck, you don't. And then, like, what did Danielle call you, trout mouth? Girl, if you don't hush that trout mouth, and I mean it, Margaret. Hush your trout mouth and your rubbery neck. Knock it off. Knock it off. I did not like that. I did not like that, you guys. I didn't like it. So anyway, they do all of that, and then Margaret says, "No, we're gonna go get a closer look. Come on, y'all." And she pulls Jackie, and they walk past Jennifer, purposefully ignoring her, and this was all to get a closer look. That was so irritating to me. Ooh, that irked me. Okay. So then Jennifer ends up talking to Teresa and kind of has a breakdown because basically she's saying they're being mean to me. So Teresa's like, who, And Teresa goes and gets Jackie, pulls Jackie over there. Jackie and Jen talk. Jen begins to tear up. Jackie becomes empathetic with how Jen is feeling in that moment. Margaret's beady little evil eyes is staring, sucking down her drink and staring at Jackie. And she tells the group, she was still looking at Jackie. She was like, talking to the group though. She's like, I'm going to go over there and pull Jackie away right now. No, actually, she didn't say pull. I have it in quotes. She says, I'm going to go over there and drag Jackie out of the conversation. And she does, just by herself, because the other women, I think they done had enough. They probably like, well, we done gave the camera enough. Now we're going to act normal. Okay, because they wasn't down with that. You gonna go over there and drag her out of the conversation right now? What? We grown. What is you talking about? That was weird. That was weird to me, and obviously weird to the other ladies because they didn't follow suit. And I'm glad, because come on, y'all, you can't be a whole group and then all y'all share the same brain. That's not gonna work out good. Now Margaret and her rubber neck stomps her way over there to Jackie and Jen. Margaret is rude, and honestly, if I was Jen, should have told her, "Excuse me, honey, bye. I'm not talking to you, girl. Bye, honey, bye, sweetheart, bye, bye, bye." Anyway, honey, they just, oof, I cannot stand that type of behavior. I'm so glad I'm not around it. That's low vibrational. Okay, and see, it's pulling me into low vibrations. Anyway, so Jen goes ahead and she's polite enough to explain what she was saying to Jackie, and then Margaret becomes the bitch that she is, and Jackie exits stage left, and then Margaret couldn't wait to say this. Margaret says, well, you know what? You act like you perfect and you too good and you put everybody down while you got mess, and you just don't talk about it. You're a liar. You're a liar. And Jen is saying, I'm not a liar. I'm not a liar, and everybody has skeletons in their closet. Margaret says, well, Bill is a cheater. Bill is a cheater. Well, you tried to call me out, and you called my mama out for being cheaters. Bill is a cheater. How dare you? Bill cheated with his office manager. Margaret really thought she was saying something, and I'm gonna tell you something. Jen went, plot out how you like me now, bop out, and said, it was a pharmaceutical rep, you fucking idiot. If you're gonna say something, get it right. I said, well, come through then, Jennifer. Okay, okay, and okay, okay. And it was to be what? Continue. And I am going to continue and roll right on into episode 2 recap.
So, I've just wrapped it up. Let me know what you feel and what you think down in the comments, okay? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Meet me in the comments below and let's talk about it, okay? And episode 2 actually is playing right now as I speak. So that'll be out as soon as the quality meets my standards. All right? With that being said, bye. Hello, Sages. Okay. Hello, how you doing? And if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and click that button. You'll want to. Okay. So let me say that I know that this shirt is wrinkled. All right. Because I dug it out from the bottom of my drawer. The reason why is because of what it says. Episode 2 of New Jersey, I really wish that Jennifer would embody this. So I had to get this shirt and wear it, wrinkled or not. Now let me move on with my soliloquies. Okay. Jennifer. Jennifer is still coping on her party hosting day. Husband Bill decides to stay far away. She decides to grin and bear it the entire way. They tried to bury it. What more can she say? Teresa. When Tree asks for respect, everyone should oblige. But Marge didn't care. She did a verbal drive-by. For me, that deserved one good side eye. In this episode, Teresa asks, why? Marge brings up cheating, and y'all let it fly. The women respond with an eye roll and a sigh. Okay, okay, Marge. Marge and Dolores sit down for a chat. Then we learn where Marge's head is at. Jen investigated Evan behind Jackie's back. Now Marge feels justified after saying only that. Dolores. Dolores has a party in a new state of mind. Marge comes early and she is ready to be unkind. Jennifer shows up and cannot unwind. The mere sight of Marge causes a rewind. Jackie comforts Jennifer and seems nice Don't forget, Marge is counting, and this makes twice. Marge marches over and forcefully interrupts, leaving Jen to imagine saying, "Bitch, shut the fuck up." Okay, okay. Now, Melissa did not get a soliloquy. No. Melissa was not interesting to me. Okay?
So they continue with the argument scene, all right? And then Marge walks away. Teresa offers to get Jen some food or water, and Jen gives her a thumbs up on the water. Okay. Then Marge, as she stomps away, she goes to the Mean Girl group and reports everything. Marge admits to talking about Bill's affair beforehand, and Jackie admits to hearing about it from Marge. Now, that's in their confessionals, of course. At the men's group, Joey sends Bill away for a bottle. All right, because the guys figure that now is a good time to take shots. And Joey says to Bill, "You might as well go get the bottle." And Bill says, "Yeah, sure, I'll go get the bottle." Now, as soon as Bill walks away, and I mean as soon as Bill walks away, Joey turns into Jenny and says, "I like him, but his wife runs her mouth too much." All right, that's Jenny. Jenny is a run tell that gossiper, just like Marge's husband Joe, who turns into Joanna, much like Peter turns into Patricia, or used to. All right, Patricia, Joanna, and Jenny could have their own show. Okay, for real. So Jennifer hosts a summer party, which she calls end of the year pool party for her daughter, since her daughter's actual birthday is in January. Okay, so Jen, Dolores, and Teresa chat inside of Jen's home, and we find out that Bill is home. He's upstairs, he's embarrassed, and doesn't want to come downstairs. Um, I personally feel like that's an overreaction. Okay, especially since Jennifer has been interviewed and said that this took place 11 years ago. So, boy, bring your ass downstairs. All right, so Teresa goes right into questioning why did Marge say that at her party? And the producer asks in one of her confessionals, the producer asks Teresa if she knows the difference or sees a difference. And Teresa says the difference is that she repeated a rumor and didn't say that it was true. And so for Teresa, that's more detrimental what Marge did because Marge said something that was true. Dolores asked Jennifer how did she find out. Jennifer explains how she found out was through credit card receipts. And she had her son the very next day. She said she thought about it and decided to make it work. So It was funny to me because in this episode, okay, when it came to Dolores and ice cream, Dolores goes to that ice cream truck and says, "Let me get my ice cream before the kids get to it." And I'm like, okay, so you learned with that charcuterie board with Teresa and stuff. A short little scene with Jackie. She has a family dinner because her kids are going to go to camp. All right. See you later, kids. Okay, now we see Margaret and Dolores in a furniture store shopping for furniture for Dolores's townhome, her new townhome. So, let me say this. Much respect to Dolores for just busting out and saying, "Listen, I don't agree with what you did." All right, okay. Marge follows up with saying the reason why she did it was because she found out, or she knew that Jennifer was investigating Evan, trying to see who he cheated with. She had reached out to several people that they mutually knew and asked them who was the person that he cheated with. And even one of them, she called him up and said, "Hey, you go to the gym with Evan. Who's he cheating with?" So that was messed up. That was definitely messed up. Now, the other person that she reached out to was Frank. In a confessional, Marge says, "Yeah, Dolores and I knew for several months now that Jennifer was reaching out to Frank to see who Evan cheated with." So that was, I don't know how I feel about that because Dolores never told us that. We didn't know that. But I guess she's letting that dirty work, be handed off uh, to Margaret because she didn't say. Now, this was said in a confessional, but honestly, as soon as Margaret said that Jennifer reached out to Frank Sr., I thought about Dolores. I'm like, well, then wouldn't Dolores know? And Dolores just chilling, not saying nothing. So I don't know. All of this, Margaret's attack on Jen just feels planned, pre-planned. It just really does. So they're switching back and forth because there's scenes with Dolores and Margaret, and we get about 2 minutes of them, and then it cuts to Jackie arriving at Jennifer's house where we get 2 minutes with them, and they go back and forth. So Jackie tells Jennifer that she doesn't see anything wrong with what Margaret did. Jackie also says, if we're really trying to be good with one another, I want to know that there's no more of this sneaky trying to destroy each other kind of stuff. Okay? So that was good to, for her to just come right out and say it and be plain about it. So kudos to her for that. Okay? Cut to Dolores telling Margaret, after being asked, that she did think that she was wrong for doing that, but not now. Okay? Because Margaret was like, "Do you still think I'm wrong?" And, she was like, "Well, I did. I did. But not now." Jennifer says that she kept it a secret for her kids and husband. And Jackie says, "Yes, I agree. I understand. And I will be there for you as a mom." All right.
Okay, and next scene is we are at Dolores's house where she is having a party for her new townhouse. It's her first time being single, living alone, and I don't know how many years, and she's enjoying it. And I'm just gonna say something real quick, okay? Because I thought this was cute. I did. The chef is asking a question about can she use this or use that? Can she, go through Dolores's things? And Dolores says, "Yeah, sure. Whatever you need, just go through my drawers and get whatever you need." And the chef says, "I can go through your drawers. Are you sure?" And of course, the chef is flirting. And Dolores says, "If only I was wearing some." I'm like, "Oh, okay then, girl. Okay." Anyway, yes, I thought that was cute. Moving right along. So Marge shows up first and immediately disses Jennifer, just like last year. Whenever Marge showed up somewhere, she immediately started talking about Jennifer. Last year, when she showed up to, I believe it was the psychic party, or no, it was the psychic party. Last year, when Margaret showed up to the psychic party, She immediately started talking about Jennifer's Instagram. And there were more instances like that. And this instance right here, right now, is reminding me of last year. Everywhere, anytime Margaret goes somewhere, if she's there before, well, she has always seemed to be there before Jennifer arrives. And she brings up Jennifer and starts dissing the heck out of Jennifer. Margaret really has a hard on for Jennifer. Point blank, period. Tell me why in the comments. Please tell me why. And also, tell me why is it hard for them to understand a little bit where Jennifer's coming from, so far as when she says she doesn't agree with that lifestyle where, Margaret was cheating and allegedly and apparently, and, I don't know, it's unknown to me that her mom allegedly was cheating also or whatever. She says that she doesn't agree with that lifestyle. Just because her husband cheated doesn't mean, to me, that means even more so that she doesn't agree with that lifestyle. Now that I've found out that Bill is a cheater, that's why she don't like cheaters. Duh. Am I alone? Let me know in the comments. Am I alone? I'm like, okay, hello. Hello, that's why she don't like cheaters. Dang. Jennifer arrives, and every time somebody ring the doorbell, we overhear Marge saying, "Who is that? Who's coming in now? Who's that now?" She is just ready and waiting, and I don't like it. This is what I was talking about when I reviewed episode 1. She's too aggressive with her bone collectingness. This is beyond bones. Okay? She, like Dolores used to say, a dog with a bone. A dog with a bone. Like, girl. Anyway, Jennifer comes in. She gives Dolores the gift. They go upstairs to the area, the gathering area. And as soon as she sees Margaret, she turns and goes and sits on the couch. She's very emotional. Jackie goes and comforts her. Well, then they all whisper and say, "What is she crying for? What is she crying for? Is she crying? What's she crying for? What's she crying for?" And Dolores goes over there and offers her some water. Again, water, okay? Because Jennifer said, "What? Y'all ain't gonna talk mess about me the 1 or 2 times I get out to drink this season. I will drink water." So she offers her water and then tells her, "What are you crying for? You're stronger than that. You're tougher than that. You're better than this. What you crying for? Stop crying." All right, Dolores, that was a little too rough. Pull it back, Dolores. Pull it back, Dolores. So Jackie continues to comfort Jennifer, and Jennifer's just saying, like, "I feel overwhelmed. It's just overwhelming." In Dolores's confessional, she says, "I don't want to hear it from Jennifer, because if you going behind Jackie's back and you doing all this stuff, then you need to be tough enough to talk about your own business." Okay. Exit Dolores. Enter Marge. Margaret stomps her butt over there and says, "What are you crying for? What are you crying for?" I'm like, oh my gosh, you New Jersey folks, y'all is kind of rough sometimes when somebody crying. But then again, hey, that Contessa did it on Real Housewives of Potomac. She told Buffy, "Stop crying and suck it up." I was like, ooh. And don't get me wrong, I understand where these women are coming from. However, if you have not or are not currently walking in that person's shoes, you can't tell them how to react to emotional trauma. Okay? Because we are all unique and different. So Margaret is all up in her face, and Jennifer is just saying, "I don't want to fight with you. I don't want to fight with you." Tiki Barber's wife, Tracy, does get a confessional. In her confessional at this time, she says that although I've been friends with Melissa for years, it really baffles me how Melissa and Margaret are acting like they can't understand why Jennifer is hurt. And I'm so glad she said that. Okay, so I'm like, okay, okay. I like her. She's showing that she has some common sense. Now, when Margaret and Jennifer are sitting there and talking, Jennifer again says how overwhelmed she is, and she says, "I don't want to fight," and she says, "My main concern was my children." Let me tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all something. Margaret responds to that by saying, honey, kids are resilient. They'll go to therapy and they'll work it out. If ever there was a time where somebody deserved a pop, and I ain't talking about soda, it was right then. This woman has a right to be concerned about her children when this news hits the street. And not only are you sitting there telling her to stop crying and telling her she don't have a right to cry, which is ludicrous. Then when she says she's concerned about her children, you got the nerve, the audacity to tell her they're resilient. They'll go to therapy and they'll be all right. They'll work it out. Bitch, bitch, bitch. Girl, you girl. And I'm a spiritual person. And even I feel like she need to be popped. Honey, don't bring me out of my character. Margaret, I wouldn't be able to. Ooh, Jesus. With Margaret, I would continue to observe the 6 foot rule. You wouldn't be able to be in my space. Like Phaedra said to Apollo, go away from me with this. Then, lastly, we see a scene where they're all sitting around Jennifer, and basically they keep hounding her and telling her to stop crying. Now, Jennifer, it appears to me that she's looking at Dolores and saying, oh, you think I'm weak for crying? You think I'm weak for crying? No, honey, I'm strong for crying. I am strong for crying. And then people are saying, they start to comfort her, like Melissa, Jackie, all of them start to comfort her and say, no, we're not saying that. Margaret gets upset and walks away, and she's like, oh, nothing can be accomplished with this at this point. And she walks away. She is so jealous and drinking so much haterade for Jennifer that she can't even take it when Jennifer is comforted by anyone. If you guys notice, anytime Jackie's over there comforting her, Marge says, I'm going over there. Dolores over there comforting her, I'm going over there. Then they all come to comfort her, and she walks away because she says, oh, this ain't nothing gonna come from this. Girl, good stuff can come from this. Healing can come from this. When you're feeling bad, you do need your homegirls around you to help you walk through it, talk through it, heal through it. That's the high vibrational stuff. Clearly, Margaret is low vibrational, because when it gets high vibrational, she exits. She's like, oh no, I'm not here for this healing stuff. All right. All of that was a lot. Let me know down in the comments, okay? Let me know in the comments if you can relate to Gia or you feel like Gia's wrong. And also, if you feel both ways. I have an issue with people who are, and usually they're relatives, and they're older than a child who they've watched grow up, and they just feel like they can talk to them any old kind of way, and that child is supposed to say nothing. And if that child speaks up and says, my feelings are hurt, please don't say that, then that child is supposed to be looked upon as being disrespectful. That is absolutely, I don't even know why I'm whispering. That is absolutely the most craziest thing I've ever heard of. And said child is an adult. So it's not like we're talking about 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds. Currently, G is 21, but during the filming, she was 20. I don't care if she was 17, 16, 14. She still has feelings and has a right to say, my feelings are hurt. That's all she was saying. My feelings are hurt. I don't see anything wrong with that. So be sure to tune in for what's coming up next. All right. Until then, drop down in the comments and let me know what you think, not just about Gia, but about everything. Let me know what you even think about Teresa. I like Teresa, okay? I like Teresa, but let me know what y'all think about Teresa comparing her. I can't even get through this with a straight face. Let me know how you guys think about Teresa comparing what she did with Jackie to Margaret and what she did. Whose side are you guys on? All right. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.